Well, we have our iconic giraffe here today, and these are really fun. Especially grandmas are especially having fun painting these for the grandkids. And it's what we call an alla prima style. So you just have to hope you get it right the first time, because there's nothing worse than coming back in and painting onto something that's really alla prima. And what you do is you take away the spontaneity of it. So make sure your water is distributed nice and evenly. Whole thing's wet. This was done, of course, with a drizzle stick. Oh, that was so fun to do. I did use the Gouda bottle on the eyes for control and some of these little holes on the nose, but the rest of it was all just drizzled off a stick. I'm going to start by painting the background using manganese blue. Now, manganese, I've talked about this before, manganese is a color that doesn't move in water. And so it's perfect. I can put a little manganese in the background here, and he'll just pop out, and I don't ever have to worry about it going into the picture itself. Now, another reason it's not going into the picture is because of those thick lines. But even if there were openings, you really wouldn't have to worry about it. So I really like getting a little bit down in the background before I start. That makes him the lightest light. So I'm going to take my brush, shake it, and come in with some water to kind of lose the edge. Same over here. And I'm also going to tip it a little bit, seeing if I can't get that color to move a little bit. But I do love the fact that it doesn't move much. Now in the next step, I'm going to layer on warm colors, starting with raw sienna. This is, I wouldn't use my primary color. See, it's too bright for this little rascal. So raw sienna, and then I'm going to use some quinacridone gold. Ooh, that's awfully pretty. And then I'm going to use some quinacridone burnt orange. So these are the colors I'm going to layer first. And all the colors are going on pure. Now if you see your painting drying at all, remember, keep your hand moving and just do a little fine mist. So the first color I'm going to apply is going to be some raw sienna. And I see it kind of in the ears here. I'm going to still try to save some white of the paper too. And his lower lip will be a little bit darker. And so I'm actually using the raw sienna as kind of his base coat. See? And even his neck is going to project like a shadow under here. So this is going to be his base coat. We'll put this color all along one side here. And some of it's going to bleed outside. We like that. If some of it decides to bleed outside, I'm not unhappy about that. I'm encouraging it. In fact, I think I'm going to tip the board to encourage it to move. So I'm just going to give it about a 2-inch tip here. Ha! That's going to be better. Okay, now I'm going to come in with the quinacridone gold. This is a little deeper, much warmer variation. Now you can see I'm just going to kind of add it in some of the same areas, only it's a much darker value. And I want to make sure we've got some a little bit darker here on the ears to pop out the eyes. And see, I want these colors to move. See how they're starting to move outside? That's good. This would be a little bit warmer here and here and here. Now I got to be careful. I don't want to get too much gold on here, because when I put the blue on later, it could turn green. Don't really want a green giraffe. So now my next color is going to be quinacridone burnt orange. And this is a really important color, because the last color I'm going to use is cobalt. And the cobalt will neutralize this orange into a gray. So I can see all kinds of warm color here over his eyes. In fact, all of these are quite warm, his spots. So we'll paint all his spots warm. Now if you see your paper getting dry, don't hesitate to come in and give it a little bit of a spray. Now we need to get much warmer here on his lips, both underneath, under his chin, his ear, and some details here. He's got a little bump here. And of course these warm colors. Don't forget to put these warm colors in his horns. I think we need to put just a little bit of a shadowy shape here too. Now the last thing I'm going to do on my worms is to take just a little bit of pink. I always like to give these little rascals a little bit of pink in their ears. Maybe a little pink around his nose and his mouth. Now this little rascal is still soaking wet. All I did was clean up my palette, and now I'm ready to come in with the cool color. This is cobalt blue. Doesn't have a real strong power of tinting, but it's going to give us some of the darks that we need. And I think I'm going to tip this a bit too. I'm just holding it here. And each one of these little spots, I'm going to start the cobalt at the top, and you can see what's happening. It's graying down. Even though it's going on as a pure cobalt, it's changing into a gray color. And that's what I want. I just want these spots to be a little grayer, a little darker, not everywhere. That's why I'm starting at the top and just letting the color flow down. Dark, mid-tone, light. So we're still going to keep some of that lovely orangey color we put on there. I'm going to come in with a little bit of the gray here, a little bit of gray in here, more under here, a little bit into his ears, definitely into his horns. Okay, so I'm just going to kind of stroke it in, gray down those horns a bit, add a little shadow in here, a little more shadow into the ear, a little more shadow here into the eye. And we're basically done. Now, in an alla prima style like this, the worst thing you could do would be to come back later and fix it. Just let the stuff run, let it do what it wants to do, and to keep this strong, spontaneous look, you're better off not fixing it later. So here's a few more giraffes. You can see where this one I put in some purple tones and decided to add this iconic look around the edge, and then didn't put any blue behind this one. I just left the white of the paper. This one is kind of fun. I took and stamped into the iconic edge here. And then it was kind of fun having the ears breaking and the neck breaking into that shape. And again, just the colors flowing out. This is what part of alla prima means. All these colors flow out, and you gotta like it. More of the same. I'm not sure, but I think this is a llama. And again, you can see the stamping and just some of the exciting fresh color, a little more pink in the ears here. But the idea is to put the color down pure, mix it on the paper, and just whatever happens, love it.